There we go. So hi everyone, welcome to the OPAL Coffeehouse. It's nice to see you here, and we appreciate your time and hope that you have a coffee or a tea or something to perk up your day. My name is Elizabeth Topper. I am a faculty member at the Bloomberg School of Public Health in the Department of Epidemiology, and I am also the director of OPAL, or Online Programs for Applied Learning. And it's my pleasure to welcome you here today. I'll also note that Aidan White from my office is online as well. And I specifically want to welcome our guest today. I'm joined by Shekeitha Jeffries. Hi, Shekeitha. Thank you for being with us today. Shekeitha was with us for our very first OPAL Coffeehouse, and we're delighted to have her back. Shekeitha is the Assistant Director of Student Life here at the Bloomberg School of Public Health. And I'm going to let her do a little bit more of an introduction of herself as she guides us through our coffee-fueled discussion of managing priorities while staying centered. So welcome, Shekeitha, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for that warm welcome. I am super excited to be here this afternoon with you all, and I do have my coffee handy, and so I hope you all have yours as well. I have a quick agenda. It's short and sweet, just so that you know exactly what we're going to be getting into today. We've already kind of done introductions, and I'm going to talk about 5 strategies for success. There'll be a wrap up, and then there'll be time for Q&A. Again, I'm Shekeitha Jeffries, and I am the Assistant Director of Student Life right here in the Bloomberg School of Public Health. And in my role, I also serve as an executive leadership coach, and I help scholars such as yourselves to navigate their graduate school journey. I support student groups with their leadership development, and I also oversee orientation and onboarding. But the best part of my job is really working with individuals like yourselves to amplify your personal brand and to achieve your goals, and really to help you all just live your best lives. So thank you all so much again for being here this afternoon. It is my hope that something is said during this presentation that resonates with you, and that this discussion today will continue to keep you all on the path of greatness. We will be discussing how to manage multiple priorities while keeping yourself centered, and I'm going to provide 5 simple yet effective strategies that you can begin using today or tweak, because you may be already using some of these strategies. So I just wanted to put that out there. Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind to just virtually introduce yourselves in the chat, just let us know who you are. You could just put your first name and what city and state are you representing today, and possibly, maybe a fun fact. I just want to make sure that we always allow room for you all to connect and engage. So I have this quote. I'm going to start with this quote. And it says, "The bad news is time flies. The good news is that you're the pilot." Time is always of the essence, and being, leaders in your respective fields. Some of you may be parents, caregivers, in addition to your role as students. And we know that there are a lot of managing priorities that you have to manage. You are truly in the driver's seat when it comes to managing your time. And so I hope that you, again, utilize this time with myself and Liz today as an opportunity to refresh or tweak some of your strategies. So we're going to jump right into it. So we know that sometimes life happens and we get knocked off our track. And sometimes we want to hit the snooze button and start anew. And so again, at this time, that's what we're going to utilize this time together, kind of to start, reset, and get really back to the basics. So think of this session today as a refresher. It's so important to refresh from time to time, especially as you all embark upon your next journey in your career. And so while on this journey, it's definitely important that you have the resources that you need to finish strong. So strategy number 1, we're going to jump right into it. prioritize effectively. And I know you may be thinking, Shekeitha, like, that's what I do, but can you break it down for me? Like, what does that really mean? Prioritize effectively, utilizing a system and making sure that you have a system in place that's for you, that is tried and true, for you to categorize the things that are important to you. So you want to set clear goals so that you have a roadmap as to what you want to do as it relates to your short and long-term goals. And then you want to reevaluate those plans regularly to just make sure that you're on the right path and you are still heading in the direction that you want to. So what does that look like? One of the strategies that you can utilize when we talk about a system, and some of you may be familiar with this matrix. It really is a tool, a simple tool that you can utilize to manage your tasks a little bit more smoothly. And so with this time management matrix, it's really broken down into four quadrants based upon what's urgent, what's not urgent, urgent but not so important. And then there's everything else but the kitchen sink. So when you look at that first quadrant, which is yellow, things that are urgent, things that are in crisis mode, emergency, pressing problems. If you have things, homework assignments that you need to prepare for, if there's exams that you need to prepare for, if there are any pressing personal or family matters, that first box is where you will be able to drop all of those tasks that have to get done. These are urgent. You need to get them done. When you look over to the red quadrant, that's what I like to call your scheduling your big blocks. What are those long-term items that you need to get done, but are not that they're important, but they don't have to be done in an immediate time frame. So you want to think about things that you may have to prepare. If there is a conference, you're overseeing a conference at work, or you're overseeing a particular project, you want to make sure that you're spending time preparing and prepping for that particular event so that you are not placing yourself in a bad space when it comes to managing your time. When you look at quadrant three are those tasks that are important. They're urgent, but they're not that important. When I think of something like that, maybe having lunch with a friend is important. It's, spending time with your friends and your loved ones. Those are urgent things, important things, but they're not things that are on your task list or on your to-do list that are urgent. They're important, but they're not urgent. So they're things that may fall in that category are phone calls that you need to make, assignments, maybe some readings that you may need to catch up on, some meetings, and some popular activities that you may engage in. And then the last quadrant is everything else but the kitchen sink. And when I think about this particular quadrant, it's really busy work. Catching up on the latest episode of Virgin River, or catching up on, I don't know what the new shows are. I like the Walking Dead, maybe catching up on reruns. This particular quadrant is for those tasks that are really mindless activities, and that really take up time in our day. As students, you have a short amount of time in this program. And so what you want to do is make sure that you are prioritizing your time effectively so that you can get through this program successfully and still manage the other things that are major of importance to you, family, work obligations, and things of that nature. At the end of this presentation, I will give you a template so that you can, if you're interested in utilizing this particular resource, you'll have a template for yourself to use. And I just want to jump back really quick before I move to the next slide. The reason why this particular resource is important or can be effective, it really helps you to be organized so you know right from the beginning to end what are those tasks that are important versus those other tasks that are not so important and that can be delegated. And you are, brushing up on your planning skills. And again, it gives you a snapshot right at your fingertips once you fill this out, those things that are really important and the items that can be put off to later. So when we talk about setting clear goals, you really have to ask yourself, like, where do I want to go from here? You're in this program, you're taking up this extra degree for probably career advancement. You're interested, you have another goal in mind. So you want to make sure that you're always reevaluating your priorities so that you are clear about where you're going. It's just like getting in a car and you don't put the GPS on. You're in a new city, new state. You've never been here in this particular place before. You want to make sure that you have a GPS, a map to help you get to where you want to go. So when you're thinking about your short-term goals, those could be goals that you hope to accomplish maybe within 6 months to a year. And when you're thinking about your long-term goals, maybe 4 to 5 years, thinking about, where do you see yourself? And this can really help you to begin managing your priorities more effectively because you've created a map as to where you want to go. Strategy number 2, to manage your time more effectively. I'm not sure how many folks on the call, if you use time blocking, this takes me back to I may be dating myself, high school days, when you had time blocking, when you were thinking about different classes that you had to take. Maybe Mondays and Tuesdays were dedicated to physical fitness, but utilizing a strategy to manage your time, such as time blocking, can be effective. You know that you have limited time in the morning, so you may want to use time blocking to meal prep or get up in the morning to do exercise. Or if you choose to spend time meditating, time blocking can be effective, especially when it comes down to planning your day out and looking at your courses. Being an online student is flexible, but it can also be challenging at the same time. I encourage many of the students that I work with one-on-one to use time blocking to block out specific times each week for course prep. That can be used for studying, that could be used for catching up on an assignment, it could be used for meeting with an advisor, blocking out time, dedicated time after classes to ensure that you have enough time in your day to manage your class responsibilities. Liz.
Hi, thanks. I'm sorry to interrupt, but if I could just jump in for a moment.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I don't know if people are aware of this, but I've been in a situation similar to yours. So when I was 40 something, I decided to go back and get a master's degree in education. And so I was working full time here at the School of Public Health. I had little ones at home, and I was doing an online part-time master's degree at Johns Hopkins. So very similar. And what I did was my day and my evening were completely jam-packed with work and family. And so I was probably, like many of you, doing my schoolwork late at night into the wee hours of the morning. And so I knew I wanted to use that time as efficiently as possible because I didn't want to be up till 4 a.m. studying every night. So not only would I do time blocking for schoolwork sort of broadly, but I would actually do very specific assignment planning at the beginning of each week. So I would say, okay, I have this assignment for this course and I approximate it's going to take me maybe 2 hours. So that's like 10 p.m. to midnight on Tuesday. I'm going to work on this assignment, and then I have to write a paper. That's probably going to take a couple of weeks. That's a longer term project, but I don't want to leave it till the last minute. So maybe Wednesday evening, I can focus an hour or two on working on that paper. And I would literally put it on my calendar in blocks that were labeled by course assignment to make sure that I left myself enough time each week to get those done. So I highly recommend that. I'm not wonderful at self-motivated time management, so that really kept me on task. So I recommend it. So thank you, Shekeitha.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for that, real life scenario. When I was doing my coursework in my master's program, I actually did the same thing. I worked full time. I took courses at night. I was a part of a community service organization. And so time blocking was a tool that I actually did implement for myself as well. Two, when you think about time management, you can certainly, I am an old school girl. I'm dating myself. Here's my planner. I'm a planner girl. If you are a planner person with stickers and whatnot, utilizing a old school method of a hard copy planner is also efficient, but you can also use technology. But I encourage you to use technology wisely. And then you can delegate and outsource. You do not, you're in your program for a short amount of time. It's not possible for you sometimes to be able to do all the things. You may just have to delegate and outsource where you can when possible. Thinking about those other organizations that you're in, maybe you do not have, or if you have, children, maybe you do not have to sign up to be a part of the PTA this time around. Maybe you can, leave that to someone else. But think about, as you're managing your time and looking to do that more effectively, think about delegating and outsourcing. So what does time blocking really look like? This is a schedule of a student, an MPH student that I've worked with. It's been a couple years. I may have to update this, but this is a sample of a screenshot of their schedule that we've come up with. They actually took the time to break down their calendar by different buckets. They wanted to have personal, a calendar or a coding system for their personal lives, family. They were a caregiver. They were in school and they worked. They took time off. They had the luxury and the opportunity to readjust their schedule so that they can focus on classes during the morning, and they worked in the evening. So when you think about time blocking, it is not hard. This is something, as Elizabeth mentioned earlier, you can just earmark those times in your schedule that are going to be dedicated for those important things in your life that you don't want to miss out on. And the beauty about, utilizing a time blocking system and even a digital calendar, you will be able to see all the white space, all of the available time. We get so caught up, saying that we don't have enough time in our day. We have 168 hours in a week. And so if you have not, taken the time just yet to think about and kind of assess where your time is going, this is a great opportunity for you to do so now, looking at the time management blocking as a possible option, just so that you're able to assess where your time is going. And then you can share this freely with your loved ones, so that they know when you're available. Knowing that you have dedicated time for them is something that you may want to take advantage of. And then lastly, when we talk about managing your time, and I talked about utilizing technology, I know some people are afraid of technology, but it is your friend, and I just encourage you to use it wisely. There are so many different apps that you can utilize. They have web-based applications, as well as apps that you can have on your phone. And I just named a couple on the screen. There's Remember the Milk is one that I've used often. I've used Trello. In my current workplace, I actually use Asana. I know a lot of students like Trello. You can incorporate pictures, graphs, links, and there's also Time Tree. And just a quick disclaimer, I know that this is a lot of information, but I wanted to share these particular resources with you just as a springboard to get started. But these are only suggestions. You have to find what works for you. Okay, next strategy. In order to help you manage your time more effectively, strategy number 3 is practicing mindfulness. When I think about mindfulness, mindful breathing, taking time throughout your day just to take some short breaths breaks throughout the day to practice deep, meaningful breathing. And this can really be helpful to help reduce the stress that you have going on in your life and to refocus your mind. And it only can take, you could, take 2 to 3 minutes just to calm yourself, just to breathe, and just to minimize any stress that you may have. Being that we're in this space of Zoom, some folks may have, technology is good, Zoom is good, but oftentimes students find themselves in back-to-back classes or back-to-back meetings in between work. So taking time in between to engage in some mindful breathing techniques or meditation is also helpful. And another tip to practice mindfulness is really to stay in the present. When we're online, sometimes we are in our email, we're texting, we're thinking about, the shopping that you have to do or an assignment that has to get done. But when you're in your meetings or designated times, just try to stay in the present so that you are able to get out everything that you need to get out during that particular class, meeting, what have you. One of the resources that is available to you as a student is the Calm app. Has anyone, by show of hands, how many of you have heard of the Calm app? You could just drop a heart in the chat or put an emoji up. But the Calm app is coined the #1 app for sleep and meditation. And it's free to any Hopkins affiliate. All you have to do is utilize your Hopkins email address to get access to the premium features. You can search by different musical artists. You can search by narrators. It is an app that it has a lot of different resources for you to lock in on your mindfulness when it comes to your breathing techniques, and you can take advantage of 5, 10, 20-minute meditations. And I've actually done this right at lunch break at my desk, and have utilized this to center myself when I'm having a stressful day. Number 4, set boundaries. We talk about this all the time, whether it's at work or whether it's in a school setting boundaries, saying no. No is a complete sentence. When you think about the time that you have managing multiple priorities as a student, you're not going to be able to engage in all of the student activities that may be available to you. I know you're online students, but there are a lot of online activities that are available and happening. You have to say no. And as a student, and leader within your professional space, during this time, is limited. While you're a student, you may not be able to take advantage of, being a committee chair or signing up for a particular committee. And even with your family, your time in this program is short, and you just have to say no so that you can focus on being a student and making sure that you finish this program successfully. And then you want to think about making sure that you establish a work-life balance. And I know that this is a phrase that is often used, and sometimes people say, well, does that even exist? It does. A work-life balance does exist. And what does that look like? When you're on vacation, they're paying you top dollar to work and to get things done in your role. When you're on vacation, you're on vacation. You can't take on a phone call. You need to utilize that time to reset and regroup so that you can be refreshed. And the same applies when it comes to the small breaks that you may get as a student. You may have to utilize that time just to focus, to reset on your studies. You have a lot at stake. You have not gotten this far by being, you have not gotten this far in your life as successful leaders without setting those boundaries. And I want you to continue to set boundaries so that you can maintain the being on the path of greatness, saying no, and really setting boundaries when it comes to the task and your time is essential. Strategy number 5, self-care and wellness. This is an area that a lot of students sometimes struggle with. They believe if I take time for myself, I'm not, they're going to miss a beat with your courses and and the assignments that you have. But both can happen. You need to be able to focus on your self-care and your wellness so that you can be sharp and make it. This program is vigorous. You want to make sure that you are not only prepared physically, but you want to make sure that you are eating things that are healthy and beneficial for you. And these are things that you already know. You got to get quality sleep. You cannot burn the midnight oil every single night. So you want to make sure that you're getting quality sleep and getting that support that you may need. We are going to talk about a couple resources that are available to you as Hopkins students. But if there's anyone in your workplace, you have an exam coming up, but there's also a deadline for a project. Is there anyone on your team that can offer support during this time and take the helm while you focus on your studies? When it comes to family matters, is there someone else that can take on a particular task so that you can focus on your studies? And if those things don't work, there's always, some other resources here at Hopkins, support services that you can delve into to ensure that you're getting the support that you need. We do not want you to, to fall behind. So it's important that you know and remember that you can seek advice from your mentors. There's therapists, and there's other support groups when you feel overwhelmed. Just discussing some of your challenges with others can really be beneficial and really also offer support. So I like to say, some people say they have a case of the Mondays. That's true. Sometimes we will have a case of the Mondays, but I want you to say goodbye to the Monday blues. There's an app that we have available to you as a scholar here at Hopkins, and it's called De-Stress Mondays. It is a resource that you can dive right into to discover some weekly practices in breathing, those mindfulness activities and positivity activities to really help you not only get your Monday start your Monday off on the right track, but there's things that you can take advantage of that will help you to manage your stress from Monday to Sunday. You can scan the QR code on the screen, and that will take you directly to this app. And there's also the link at the bottom if you prefer to visit it on your website, on your desktop. Another Hopkins resource is Silver Cloud. Silver Cloud is a confidential mental health resource for Hopkins students. It includes interactive learning models that teach cognitive behavior therapy techniques. This is something I feel like this is a hidden gem, and I wanted to share this resource with you as another way to get any support that you may need as it relates to your mental health. Another Hopkins support resource is student well-being. This website provides a robust, they have a lot of resources broken down by the 8 elements of wellness. So if you need some resources and support for spiritual guidance, there's a tab for that. If you're looking for resources to help you continue to grow professionally, there's resources for your emotional and mental wellness, your physical wellness. There's even resources up there to help you with your financial wellness, your environmental wellness, and your social and sexual wellness. These are free resources that are maintained by the Office of Student Health and Wellbeing. Check out this resource as another way to help you manage your multiple priorities. This is the last resource that I wanted to share with you, or second to last resource, University Health Services. They have are able to take student appointments in person, and you can also possibly get some support, some virtual support as online learners. This is an office that is open, a service that is provided to you as Hopkins students as well. Take this information, scan that QR code, and just keep this information handy in case you should ever need it. And just a recap, remember that managing multiple priorities while trying to stay centered, it's an ongoing process. And it's important to be flexible and adapt to the changing circumstances, environments. You know that life can definitely throw some curveballs, and it is key that we try to stay as grounded as possible and remember not to take ourselves so seriously and to give ourselves grace. I encourage you to regularly assess your progress and adjust your strategies as needed to maintain that balance and continue to achieve success. So no matter what strategy that you choose to use, consistency, dedication, and again, flexibility is key. Keep in mind that life is going to happen, and you may need to hit the snooze button from time to time to give yourself some time to reset. Do it as often as you need. Prioritize your time effectively. Check out those time management resources, whether you're using paper or a digital planner. Practice mindfulness, taking time to pause when there's stressful moments in your life and taking time to pause to simply just regroup. Set boundaries as needed. Delegate tasks as often as you can. Say no, because it is a complete sentence, and making sure that you are taking on tasks and responsibilities that are going to continue to be beneficial to your growth. And jump right into self-care and wellness. It is amazing what a 5-minute walk can do, or a 5-minute step away from from your desk, from the computer, just to have a cup of coffee or tea, or even a nice cool drink of water. Lastly, you all have a choice. You can either choose to do nothing and nothing changes, or you can plan your work and work your plan. The choice is yours. Thank you. All of these resources that I talked about today that are available to you as Hopkins students, you can find them in the Hopkins Group platform. Just scan the QR code on the screen. You'll be able to sign in utilizing your Hopkins JED ID. And once you're in the platform, on your left-hand side is a hub of resources that are broken down by different categories. And this is also a place where you can find out about what's happening on campus, and that includes in these virtual spaces as well. So if you have any questions about the resources that are shared, you can reach out to me in the Office of Student Life, and that is the department email. Or you can reach out to myself or Elizabeth directly. At this time, I will open up the floor for any questions, comments, thoughts that you may have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Shekeitha. That was really, really just a huge wealth of resources, and also some just wonderful suggestions. I love how you laid this out as specific strategies that people can follow, and really appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us. Does anyone have any questions? Of course, as Shekeitha mentioned, it's not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. There are all these great resources on that you can access online that she mentioned, and you can always send an email. Sometimes, a session will end, and then you think later, oh, I know what I should have asked. So you don't have to feel pressure to ask now. But if there are any questions, we're both here and happy to have a conversation about it.
I've actually dropped the two resources in the chat box for you. One is the matrix, the time management matrix handout. You can print that off or you can utilize it digitally. And there's also a one sheet on is a resource that I've often shared with students on how to manage their day. It's just a little checklist for you to highlight the things that are most important in that day to set a plan.
That's great, thank you. And also, this session has been recorded, and we'll post the recording in the OPAL Student Resources site. So if you missed any of those QR codes or any element of the strategies that Shekeitha mentioned, you can always go back and view the recording to remind yourself later.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And I hope that you have a wonderful weekend.
Likewise, Shekeitha, thank you again so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.